Hi, and welcome to my channel. I am Lainey Reese. I'm an author, and I write primarily steamy, spicy romance, but I also, all of my books have like adventure and suspense and serial killers and such that you're after, and you gotta conquer and break a sex ring or a human trafficking ring. There's always intrigue and adventure going on. It's not just all the spice. So I hope you check my books out. But I'm not going to talk about my books today. I'm going to talk about other authors, and specifically, I want to share my favorite audiobooks with you while I get ready. Does that sound fun? I hope that sounds fun to you. Do you like audiobooks? At first, I was so against audiobooks. I was not on board with it. Which is weird because when I was a little girl, my father would, he was a long haul truck driver. That's what he did for a living. So, and he loved driving. So when he wanted family time with us kids, he would pile us all into the car, my mom too. We'd all pile into the car and we would drive for hours to nowhere. And then he'd turn around and we would drive home. And for some people that may seem boring and silly and ridiculous, but for us, it was wonderful. We sang songs as a family. You know, and Jesus loves little children. We'd be like, Jesus loves the little Laneys, all the little Laneys in the world. And we'd go through everybody's name in the whole family. Jesus loves the little mommies and daddies. And it was so much fun. And they would share stories with us, tell us stories about their childhood and about when we were babies from before we could remember. And it was wonderful, wonderful. But some of the times we wouldn't even talk. They loved like talk radio and stuff, and they'd find radio theater, which is a lot like books, you know, listening to audiobooks. So, and I loved when they would find stuff like that. And one time we went camping and they found a station and we listened to Sherlock Holmes, the Hounds of the Baskerville. And it was fantastic. And I loved it. Loved it. And yeah, so I don't know why I was so adverse to audiobooks in the beginning because, you know, those are some of my greatest childhood memories. So, but of course they weren't audiobooks. And when they came out, I was like, especially when I first started reading listening to the In Death series by J.D. Robb. Now, this is one of my all-time favorite series. They are based in the future, the not too distant future. She should have like maybe put it a little further out because yeah, but oh my gosh, it is so cool. It's a futuristic homicide detective and her ultra rich, ultra beautiful husband, and them going out, you know, in New York and just solving crime. And it's awesome. It's so awesome. But because I read them first, and when I was transitioning into audio, I was so upset at the narrator because the sidekick, her name is Peabody. Her love interest even has a nickname for her, and he calls her She-Body. The narrator calls her Peabody. She-Body doesn't rhyme with Peabody, but the narrator refuses to say her name correctly. And it drives me absolutely bonkers, where every time she says it, I will say Peabody out loud because it makes me bonkers. But I learned to get over it because the narrator does a fantastic job in every other respect. She doesn't get Peabody. Like Peabody's also was raised by hippies and, you know, futuristic hippies. And she's like airy and floaty, but she always wanted to be a cop. And when we first meet her, she's dressed like a street cop. And so the narrator gave her this New York gumshoe accent. Like she was just this street cop from New York when she's not. She came to New York because she always wanted to be a cop, and she's actually just a free-spirited hippie and all light, and she gives her the, boy, it makes me batty. But it is my first recommendation because aside from that, it is fantastic. Sorry, my puppy's howling at me or whining at me. It's a fantastic series. I love it. Pippin, go lay down. Go on. Lay down. Right here. Sorry, guys. Lay down. So, J.D. Robb, which is Nora Roberts' other name that she writes under. And yeah, it's the In Death series. Start with Naked in Death. There are a ton of them, and they're all so fantastic. So good. Even now, because I've gone back and revisited them, because there are so many, but I was in a book slump and I haven't read anything in a long time that has caught my interest. So I went back and just re-listened to the first one like 2 weeks ago, and it is still riveting and fantastic and wonderful. It's not dated at all. My coffee's too hot. Okay, now for my next recommendation. Again, these are audiobooks that I love, that I believe you have to listen to them. It's going to be better to listen to them than reading them yourself. My number 2 pick would be the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. It's quite a title. Now, this book is fantastically written. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorites. I have listened to it over and over again whenever I'm in between books or I'm in a reading slump and can't find something that tickles my interest. I will grab this one. It will make you cry. It will make you laugh. It is a wonderful listen. It's so well written, but it's written in such a unique way because it's just letters back and forth to different people, stemming around this one, the main character, and she's a writer. And it's just after World War II, and she's been writing just like frivolous, happy-go-lucky, try to keep, America or keep the world distracted from the war going on type books. But now that the war is over and she's tired of being frivolous, she wants to write something real and something serious. And so she decides that she wants to write about Guernsey. And Guernsey was the only occupied territory that that London or Great Britain or whatever gave up to Hitler. And so even though they were supposed to be safe, there were Nazis in this town. And the stories that she starts getting in where people are writing to her, telling her their experiences, it's wonderful. You are going to cry, but you're not going to cry through the whole thing. It's not a deep, dragging, depressing read. It's actually beautiful and hopeful. And every letter that comes in, like every character is read by a different person. That's why I think that it's better to listen to it than read it yourself, because all of the actors do such a wonderful job of bringing these characters to life. I adore this book. So that's my other recommendation. Yeah, that one, ooh. At the crying part, I remember I was doing dishes, which is why I like audiobooks, because I read so much that if I sat down and read as much as I want to, I would never get anything else done. When I finally caved into audiobooks, it's because I told myself that it's like a very nice actor has agreed to read to me and follow me around so that I can get my chores done. And that's what I told myself, to accept them. And that's how I learned to accept them. And I love it. I love it. I love my audiobooks now. But anyway, so I'm doing dishes. And we get to the part where I'm going to cry. And I'm just, hoo. And it comes and I literally went, oh, and I like someone had hit me in the gut, and I bent double and just started crying, like full on mouth open, like yeah. Yeah, the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. Fantastic, fantastic book. Now, for my next one, I should have written all of these down because I went through my Audible library and I was like, oh yeah, I'll talk about that one. I'll talk about that one. And I thought, I don't need to write these down. I should have written them down so I can remember which ones I wanted to tell you guys about. And let me see. What do we think? Is that good enough? This makeup I think is lovely. I enjoy it, but it doesn't give me the coverage that I want. You know, I can still see a patchy skin tone coming through it. So I don't know if I'll be repurchasing my Il Maquillage or not. I mean, it's nice and it stays on all day, but it just doesn't cover enough, you know? I don't look like one surface. Anyway, this wasn't a tutorial or get ready with me type of thing. It was about my audiobooks that I love. And it has to be said, I have read all of the Harry Potter books. I loved all of the Harry Potter books. I am a huge Harry Potter fan. I will die on that mountain. And again, I've read them. But the audiobooks, they elevate the story so much. Jim Dale, who does the American version, Stephen Fry does the UK version of them. I don't know why they had to have two different ones when we all speak English in like both countries. But anyways, they're different, and you can't get them. You can't get Stephen Fry's version. And I love Stephen Fry. Anyways, so Harry Potter. Fantastic. Jim Dale is a phenomenal actor, and he narrates these books so beautifully and flawlessly, and all of the characters come to life. He's great at changing his voice and using a different voice distinction. There are some audiobooks where I don't know who's talking. I have to wait for, so-and-so said before I can go, oh, that's this person's voice. Like one book that I just listened to recently, she sounded the same when she was doing either a man or a woman. She didn't try at all to change the voice. So that was really hard to listen to. But you won't run into that with the Harry Potter series. He is fantastic at the voices and the characters and the emotion that comes through. He really, he hit out of the park with those. Loved him. And so another thing is the Robert Galbraith is J.K. Rowling's other pen name that she writes under. And this story, The Cuckoo's Calling and so on, they're the Strike series. He is a London private investigator who's down on his luck, and by mistake, a temp agency sends him this new temp, and he's forced to take her on even though he can't afford her. But that begins this wonderful relationship between these two. Not romantic relationship, but like she's his girl Friday, and he's, it's fantastic. He's a private investigator, and the books are wonderful. They are thick, they are detailed, fabulous. And the author that reads them, another phenomenal actor. So yeah, and the books are so popular that in the UK, they've made, on the BBC, they've made them into a TV series. So yeah, The Cuckoo's Calling is the first book in the series. I recommend all of them. The story building that she builds up, what I love about those that she puts in is like they're going to, King Cross Station and all the stuff. She mentions all these really cool places in Europe that are real, and she mentions real events that are happening in England, like when they were written was when what's his face, William first got married, Prince William. And you're like, just awesome little details like that make it real, that bring everything into like out of the imaginary world and put it in the real. So you think like, I can just go down to London and hire me Cormoran Strike to solve all my problems for me. So yeah, the Cormoran Strike novels are another wonderful recommendation that you guys are going to love. And lastly, there are so many more. It's not lastly. I was going to tell you about Simone St. James. Her books are wonderful. If you like something spooky, if you like something scary, Simone St. James, she's got some really good ones. And I've been trying to find a good horror novel. If you have some recommendations, please leave them down, because there aren't good horror novels out there. I can't find them. Stephen King? No. The only Stephen King book that I have enjoyed is Dr. Sleep. I listened to that several times now. It's a wonderful, wonderful follow-up to The Shining, which I didn't like The Shining, but Dr. Sleep, perfect. A perfect piece of work. But yeah, I have problems with Stephen King. Don't come at me. Everybody has their own taste, but I hate how much racism is in his books. Yes, he has the bad guy doing the racist stuff, but it's awful and it's uncomfortable, and he puts it in. It seems to work in every book that I've tried listening to, even in Dr. Sleep. One of the characters they call Billy the Chink. Why? And it makes it even worse that he's not. They even point out that he isn't Asian, but they call him that because he has slanted eyes, which makes it worse to me. And they're the bad guys, so he doesn't get any backlash for it. I don't like it. That's just me. That's my opinion. But anyways, other than that, Dr. Sleep is fantastic. Okay, but yeah, I had so many others that I wanted to tell you about too, like Karen Slaughter. Karen Slaughter's books are so good. Catherine Early narrates most of them, and she's phenomenal. And oh my goodness, Pretty Girls and The Good Daughter. Those are my two favorite books by Karen Slaughter. They are hard to listen to. They're extremely graphic in the crime details, and the murder, and the mutilation and such. But that woman can write. She can write circles around me, and I'm so jealous, and I want her talent. I want to be as good as her. I love her. So those are good too. But my favorite book, I have so many more. Maybe I'll do another follow-up. My favorite audiobook of all time. It may be my favorite book of all time. I love this book. It is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This book, and I've only listened to it. I haven't read it. I cannot imagine that it would be as impactful if I had read it instead of listening to it. And I'm not going to give you any spoilers as to why that's so. You will just have to listen to it for yourself to see, because there is a part in that book where they talk about musical notes and being able to hear the musical notes rather than just reading about them. Like it took the story from 2-dimensional to 5-dimensional. I mean, it was deep, and it's such a good book. Have you seen The Martian with Matt Damon? That was written by Andy Weir based on his book, which is another Andy Weir. Anything he writes is good. I've read everything that he has out right now, and I am desperately waiting for him to come out with a new book. Now I know what some of my fans feel like, because I haven't finished my books that are waiting. I got people waiting on them, sorry. But anyways, Project Hail Mary. And it's being made into a movie too. Ryan Gosling is going to star in it. With this story, it is about a man who wakes up on a spaceship all alone, and he can't remember who he is or why he's there. And well, he's not all alone. There are 2 people with him, but they have died. And he doesn't know why, and he doesn't know what's happened. It's just him and the ship in the middle of space, and he's got to figure out what is going on. And then once he figures out what's going on, he realizes that he is the Earth's last chance. Like they sent him out, a Hail Mary pass in football. That's where the title came from. He's not just humanity, the entire Earth's last chance. They sent him out there in a desperate hope that he can save them. And it is a wild ride. It is, again, it's science fiction, but it's believable science fiction. It isn't like, there's not a bunch of technical stuff going on in it, but it's also not like just a frivolous, complete fantasy science fiction, if you know what I'm saying. It's perfection. In my opinion, it is science fiction perfection. And I love science fiction. I love movies of science fiction and books of science fiction. But in my opinion, Project Hail Mary, it is my favorite book. Not just in Audible, it's my favorite book. And I've read tons. So I hope that you'll take my recommendations. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And there are so many more. If you're interested in knowing what else I would recommend, or if you're interested in book reviews, I would love to post those too. Just let me know if you'd want to be checking them out. All right. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate your time. And if you enjoyed the video, please, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, because that just means the world when I scroll through and I see if I've had any views, and I'm starting to get views. I'm so happy. And then those likes just send me through the roof. So if you'd like to just do something that will cost you nothing, but will mean the world to me, just give it a like. Thank you.